Hi, folks, and welcome back to the Star Wars Library, where Star Wars is in print. And today we're going into the next book in the Jedi Academy trilogy, and that is Dark Apprentice by Kevin J. Anderson. This book came out on June 1st of 1994, and it is the second book in the Jedi Academy trilogy. So let's go through this. So the novel begins with Leia and Admiral Akbar. They crash on Vortex, and they were trying to um, avoid an assassination attempt by an Imperial loyalist named Ferguson. So this will ultimately cause Admiral Akbar to resign his post at this point. So that happens, and then we transition over to Luke Skywalker. So he is training his new students at this point, and all does not go very smoothly. Kip Duran is thriving. However, Gantoris is killed by the spirit of the Sith Exar Kun, who his spirit has been dwelling in the Massassi Temple for thousands and thousands of years. That we'll eventually see in the Tales of the Jedi comics. So, once this happens, Kun begins tempting Kip, and he starts filling his head with a lot of lies about the Jedi, and basically is able to successfully turn Kip over to the dark side of the Force. Kip will ultimately just snap at this point, and he basically is like, I need to basically take revenge on the people who have destroyed my life, and take revenge on Dala and then the Imperial Remnant. So he's like, I need the Sun Crusher. Well, the Sun Crusher was thrown into the Yavin gas giants at the end of the last book. And he's like, well, the Sun Crusher is indestructible, so I should be able to get it out. So he goes to try, and he's like, I'm going to get it out. Well, Luke will intervene and be like, hey, like, knock it off. And he ends up dueling Kip, and basically with the aid of Exar Kun, it's not Kip, it's obviously Exar Kun being involved in this. Kip separates Luke's soul from his body, or his consciousness from his body. So Luke is in this deep coma or whatever, and then Kip, in one of the coolest moments in all of the EU, for me at least, is the stands on the top of the temple, looks at the Yavin gas giant, uses the Force to pull the Sun Crusher out of it, and basically jumps in it and goes off to destroy and get revenge on Dala and the Imperial Remnant. So that's how it ends. It ends on a cliffhanger. It's definitely the darkest chapter. Similarly, it feels like it's similarly mirroring The Empire Strikes Back. In terms of ending it on that cliffhanger. And yeah, that is kind of how it ends. So is this book, is Dark Apprentice an essential read? Duh, obviously it is, especially if you're reading the trilogy. Like, why would you not read this if you're reading the trilogy? And more than likely, you're not going to read this unless you've already read the first book, which is Jedi Search. Obviously it's an essential part of the expanding universe. It's part of the trilogy. It's kind of the beginning. It really sets up Kip Duran a lot. It's the Kip really kind of struggling with the light and the dark, trying to find that fine line. This is where a lot of that begins in this book. And obviously Exar Kun, the conclusion of what is set up in Tales of the Jedi. If you're reading a chronological order, that's kind of where it starts to hit its climax, is here. So yeah, most definitely this is the book to check out if you're reading the trilogy. And if you're not reading the trilogy, then what's wrong with you? If you haven't read it, go read it. It's pretty dang good. Or at least I think it is. So anyways, folks, that is all the time that I have for today, and I will see you next time with another episode of the Star Wars Library.